Hey legends, what an absolute week of carnage. Things are absolutely starting to go to hell. Our teams are blowing up, superstars are falling over left, right and center, and there's probably no bigger scalp this week than Nathan Cleary. Now that's an old image, but it's appropriate simply because everybody's captaincy choice is effectively gone this week. So with that in mind, let's get into it. Okay, so first up, let's have a look at the carnage. Now, we've got Cleary gone for 4 weeks with talk of a hammy. We've got Reece Walsh out for 4 weeks with that facial fracture. We've got a guy who came in and did an awesome job at the Roosters. Smith there, gone for 4 weeks. We've got Moses out for up to 8 weeks with a foot injury. And we've got poor old Tuapiki over at the Warriors who failed his HIA and he will be out next week as well. So who knows if he even comes back with C&K not too far along. Now we do have some good news. Reynolds might be back this week for the Broncos, and Haas, unfortunately, well, he still has a few weeks to go. But there's also a bit of talk, a bit of rumour about Reuben Cotter and Cam Murray. Now, just talking about Cam Murray, the NRL physio. If you don't follow him on Twitter, I highly recommend it. But he's come out and he said, and I'll quote him here, he goes, Cameron Murray left Rabbitohs training early today as he manages a bursa issue in his knee. Dealt with a knee tendon issue late last year. Bursa is a fluid-filled sac that can provide cushion to tendons. Not in doubt for round 4 at this stage, but issue will be ongoing. And we're also hearing rumours out of the Cowboys that Reuben Cotter, well, he pulled up a bit lame as well, so could be in doubt, and Team List Tuesday will be oh so important this week. Because obviously with the Melbourne Storm gone, there is some absolute weapons that just won't be available for us in round 4. Alright, so enough of the really negative stuff. Let's talk about how I went in round 3. Give you guys a bit of an update. Now let's get that red pen out because here is some of the changes that we made last week. So obviously Lukey was out, Payne Haas was out, so obviously they were going to score zeros. The 2 guys we brought in were a little bit underwhelming. Joey Lussick, only the 28 points. And Kulikefu, Fini Fuiaki, well, he managed to get 40 with a try, so that's a little bit better, but obviously you can't rely on a try every single week. So in terms of point scoring losses, we didn't lose anything because Payne Haas and Lukey both scored zeros this week, given they weren't playing. And our new boys scored a grand total of 68, which was a little bit disappointing. The good news is that they both grew in value by 80k. So at the very least, we made a little bit of money, but the points could be a whole lot better, especially from Joey Lussick there. Hopefully this weekend he can have a big one. Would love to see him somewhere around the 45-50 mark. That would be absolutely amazing. And if he does that, he will continue his money-making journey. And Finu Fuiaki, given he started at 293k, he's already up to 331k. I'd love to see him pump out another 40 plus score this week and really keep that money making going. That would be absolutely amazing. Now, in terms of our score, round 1, we pumped out a 700. Round 2, we did pretty well, cracked the 800 for 811. And then down a little bit in round 3, and we'll talk about some of the reasons why, but back to 758. But what I am liking is positive momentum. So we started with an overall rank of 48,439. We then effectively halved it to 22,241. And this week we've come in at 17,292. So you can see here, we've started just shy of that 50,000 mark. We had some really good inroads in round 2, finishing just outside the 20,000s. And we have slowly but progressively moved upwards this week. And this is that 17,292. So we're moving in the right direction, which is this way. Probably not as fast as we would have liked. Would have loved to have seen a little bit more stronger momentum. And we'll jump into the team list and we'll talk about why. Alrighty, so let's start with some of these sub 20 point guys. They're our biggest disappointments this week. Ben Trebojevic, 15. Ethan Strange, 12. Keeney, 18. And Sam Hughes, 17. Now, all of these guys especially, I think, really let us down. And, you know, even if they were all just over the 20-point mark, that would have made a significant difference this week. And I think we're going to really have to look at what is their money-making potential going forward. I'm especially concerned about Sam Hughes here. I think that 17 really slows him right down. Ethan Strange, we know, has got kind of a lot of upward potential. So does Ben Trebojevic. But I really don't know if I can carry them in the main 13. I think they're really going to have to, at some stage, find their way into the emergencies or off the team. Now, the other guy we've got a question mark on is Keeney. Will he be playing this week? Or will Jaden Campbell be back for the Titans and Keeney gets punted? Really keen to find that out for Team List Tuesday, because I actually think if he's playing, then that might just save him one more week from the chopping block, because we absolutely have some issues elsewhere. Now, another player who was a little bit disappointing, we brought him in, Joey Lussick, 28 points, really not happy with that. I was hoping somewhere in the mid-40s would have been more ideal. Really considering at this point whether it's him or maybe we should have really looked at an Appy Coruscant. He had a blinder on the weekend. Something to consider when we don't have as many holes in the team as we currently have. Now, let's work top to bottom. Harry Grant, 58. I'm pretty happy with that. I really just want to see more consistency, more points around that 55 to 60 mark for Harry Grant, and I'll be happy. May, 50. I'm pretty comfortable with that. And I'll be very interested to see if May gets more points as a consequence of Lindsay Collins perhaps not being available this week. For me, that would be ideal, but let's wait and see on that one. Now, Ruben Cotter, 40, is a little bit disappointing. There is that talk of an injury cloud. It'll be interesting to see if he makes it through Teams List Tuesday. Cam Murray is an absolute Iron Man. That 58 is incredible, particularly if he is playing injured. One to watch and keep an eye on for sure. But let's be honest, Cam Murray is a rock star. He just keeps pumping out these consistently good points. He may even be the captain, vice captain in my team this week, just depending on what choices we make. Now, Finifuieki, 40, I'm pretty happy with that, but keep in mind that it does include a try. And personally, I would have loved to have seen that in base points plus a try. So really keen to see how he builds on that from here. The Cowboys are up against an understrength Broncos team this week, so who knows, he could be in for a blinder. Now, Piakura, that 30 is again disappointing. He's going to be a player that we have to watch, especially if he continues to get moved out into the centers. Now, I know that wasn't planned, but he's just not really having a big impact out there, and that's a little bit disappointing. I'm really looking forward to him playing an 80-minute game on the edge off an Adam Reynolds or something like that. I really think that's the sort of game he needs to get his money-making potential going. Now, let's keep moving. Nathan Cleary, 75. I'm pretty happy with that, but obviously Nathan Cleary is now out for 4 weeks. So we really have to make a decision on Nathan Cleary. Lockie Galvin, we picked him up the first available moment we could, and he has absolutely delivered. Nearly up $100,000. He deserves 3 ticks. He's probably our superstar of the week in this team, you know. Absolutely amazing. Let's jump down to Pappenhausen, 51. He is well and truly on his way back. He's still relatively cheap at $567. But what we like about Paps is he is headed in the right direction, and I think he will just continue to build in confidence, and hopefully that means build in point scoring and money-making potential for our team. Now, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, 44, is a little bit disappointing. At least it's starting to get a little bit more consistent, and I'm hoping he can build on that when he comes up against some of these weaker performing teams. He is really expensive though, $613K. That price will probably start to stabilize, but I really want to see him build, and I'd love to see him get across the line 2 or 3 times in a game so that those points can just explode. Because if this is the sort of scores we can expect from RTS, we will have to consider moving him on at some stage. I'm hopeful his price doesn't drop too much, because I don't know about you, but I just want a little bit more from Roger. But for now, he does have that wing fullback center duel, and as such, I've got bigger issues elsewhere. He will continue to stay in my team for now. Okay, so let's talk about Joey Chan. He didn't play. That was a little bit unexpected and a little bit disappointing. Apparently, he's got an infected hand and obviously won't play this week because he's on the bye. I'm hearing he could be back in round 5. And based on Sean Blaw's game, I don't think he's going to lose out to Blaw. I think he'll come back and carry on from round 5 and hopefully continue this money-making run. It's a little bit underwhelming at the moment, but hopefully he can build on it from here. Hutchison really did himself a favour with this 37. His money-making is starting to tick on nicely. I really don't think we're going to see a plus 50 from him though, so 37 to 40 is kind of his peak. So he's probably in the team for a couple more weeks. Similarly with Salmon, also picked up the 37. His money making really starts to accelerate. So the difference between these two is obviously Hutchison is 425k versus Salmon at 348k. So that 37 impacts Salmon more than it does Hutchison. So keep that in mind if you have both of those guys in your team. If they're both going to score roughly around the same points, you are going to make more money from Salmon than you will from Hutchison. And Hutchison kind of creates a little bit of a solution for us this week with Cleary being out. We can leverage Hutchison to come in and play for Cleary, and that frees us to make a trade somewhere else. We could also leverage Ethan Strange if we needed to. So we do have a couple of options. They're not necessarily the best options, but at least we've got some options in that half position from a coverage point of view anyway. Now next up, Jesse Arthurs. I spent most of the weekend thinking I wouldn't get Jesse Arthurs 30. I contemplated him versus Keeney, so I was very disappointed to see Keeney with the 18 and Arthurs with the 30. But as it turned out, with Chan not playing, I picked up Arthur's 30 anyway. So ended up being relatively happy with that. 30 points against a very difficult Penrith Panthers is not too bad. I'll accept it. The easy solution for me here is to bring in Arthurs for Pappenhausen, provided that Keeney is playing. Now, if Keeney is playing, I won't need to bring in an extra centre wing. But obviously, if Keeney is out, we're going to have to find that coverage somewhere else. Now, Sam Hughes we've spoken about, and Danny Levi continues to do Danny Levi things with a pretty disappointing 25. Now, we will be looking to move on a Danny Levi for maybe a Reece Robson or an Appy Coruscant at some stage, especially if Joey Lussick doesn't start accelerating that scoring. We really need to see 40 plus from Joey Lussick every single week. So let's keep an eye on that one. So for now, Levi is a question mark. And that brings us down to Wong. Now, he obviously didn't play last week, but I'm hoping with the Lindsay Collins injury that Wong gets a few more minutes on the park and gets a recall to the starting 17 at the Roosters. So only time will tell with that one. And I've got to say, the round 3 Carnage, I hope it's over. I hope it's done. I hope things can start to settle down from round 4 and beyond, and things really return to normal and we start pumping out some massive points. But we are headed in the right direction. We've got a truckload of cash. We can do just about any move we want to make. So fingers crossed, it's all about making smart moves from this point forward. Anyway, guys, look, there you go. If you've liked today's video, you know what to do. Smash that like button for me. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. And as always, guys, get involved in the conversation via the comment section down below. And I'll see you all in the next video.